So, right off the bat, this is an underrated bow, and it's mainly because we don't really have that many bows in Save the World to begin with. I mean, it's not like we have 14 different bows available to us, but out of all the bows that are available to us, there are only two that are a favorite in the community, that being the Xenon bow and the Vacuum Tube bow, both with unique qualities and attributes, but the Cloudburst might just be my third favorite bow in this game for some of the more crazier reasons. But before I show you those reasons, let's look at the hero loadout and then the perks for the Cloudburst. Okay, so starting us off, the commander that we're going to use is Stoneheart Farah. Now, normally you'd want a hero to do increased damage to the bow, so you'd pick something like Redline Ramirez, but with this build, we're going to focus on the steam cloud that appears when eliminating a husk, because with Stoneheart Farah, every time you fire an arrow at a husk, it branches off into 5 splinters. The thing is though, with the Cloudburster, anytime a husk walks through that cloud, it splinters as well, and it does 60% of the damage with those splinters for every half a second. This basically means if you have that cloud in a tunnel where the husks walk through, you are eliminating dozens of husks with just one arrow. For the team perk, we are using Totally Rocking Out to help us with the crit damage to our arrow, as well as the Steam Cloud, and yes, the Steam Cloud can also crit, which means the splinters from Farah can also crit. We want to crit as much as possible to handle as many husks as we can. For our support team, we have Breakbeat Wildcat, since she comes with the perk Battle Beat, where eliminating 10 enemies in 9 seconds grants Rocking Rift to increase our damage and crit rating. And with the Cloudburster and Stoneheart Farah, it's not going to be hard getting that many eliminations. But in the event where we come across a mission with very little swarms and just a lot of big boys, we'll need Mainstage Quinn with her perk Sub Wafers. Not only will eating a wafer by harvesting metal grant us Rocking Rift, but in the event that we are low on health, they will be able to heal us in a pinch. Moving on to our weapon damage, we're going to use Redline Ramirez next. Her perk Quickscope increases sniper damage by 17%, and yes, bows do classify as a sniper, but that extra 17% damage increase also applies to the Steam Cloud from the Cloudburst and the Splinters from Farah's Commander perk. We're also going to use Rabbit Raider Jonesy, who has the perk Sure Shot, which increases crit damage by 75%. Again, this also applies to the Steam Cloud and the Splinters, and with Rocking Rift granting us an increase in the crit rating by 160, that means we will be critting a lot from all 3 types of damages, the arrow, the clouds, and the splinters. And just for a bit of added damage, we got Rex Jonesy with his perk Saurian Might. Every second grants 9% of our current health to damage of next range weapon. If we are on max health, which we should if we have enough sub-wafers, every single shot is going to do an increase of damage thanks to Rex Jonesy. But if I'm going to be honest, you can switch him out with any other hero for support. Skull Ranger Ramirez has Locked and Reloaded that grants a 15% increase in damage after every reload, and with a bow you're going to reload after every shot. Or, if you want to stay alive for longer, you can switch Rex out for Survivalist Jonesy, who heals you with every elimination, or Crossbones Barrett, who gives you coconuts that heal you for 33.3% of your max health and heals you gradually over time, as well as give you a 16% damage buff. So, it all depends on your preference, but this is the loadout that I'm going to be going with. As for my weapon loadout, the perks I have for my Cloudburst is double crit damage, crit rating, since with Rocking Rift it increases our crit chance anyways, so I might as well increase crit damage. And our 5th perk, we have damage to mist monsters and bosses. Although we can switch it out for more crit rating, it's preferred to do more damage to the mist monsters since the Steam Cloud itself or the splinters won't do much damage to them. I would also suggest getting multiple copies of this weapon. Reason being is because you are able to change this weapon's element to whatever you need. And since in less than 2 weeks, Mutant Storm season is coming and everything will be nature-based, you'll want a copy of the Cloudburst with the fire element. But that's enough of that, let's get on to the gameplay. So, as you can see, when dealing with the small group of husks, the Steam was able to clean up the more weaker husks, leaving only the big boys. And even then, when they're in the Steam, Pharah's perk is activating at an incredible pace, erasing the more tanky enemies in seconds. Not only that, eliminating the whole group activated my Rocking Rift, but I'll need to gather metal to be able to harvest these sub-wafers from main stage Quinn. I'm gonna get this pick first though, and switch over to my Ear Splitter Spear. This weapon is amazing to have when farming for different things, because your heavy attack is able to farm metal and other mats at an incredible pace. You'll have your wafers in no time. And speaking of which, I actually found this metal house right here, but before I start breaking it down, I'm actually going to search these items right here. Now, for those of you who do play Save the World and you are low, and I mean extremely low on specific materials, I highly suggest searching different items before you start breaking anything apart. Reason being is because you are able to gather your specific materials such as efficient mechanical parts or oxidized mineral powder by searching different items. If not, you are actually able to get either weapons or traps from these boxes as well, which you are then able to recycle to get these items. But as right now, I'm just farming for metal to be able to get sub-wafers. I already got quite a bit of it, but I know that I'm probably going to need a little bit more during the mission, so I'm just going to stock up right now, and we're going to move on to the next scene. So, a couple of downsides to this weapon is that the Steam Cloud does last for 5 seconds, and you are not able to use the cloud back to back to back, meaning you gotta make the first elimination count. Like with the beginning of this encampment here, I shoot one of the 3 husks at the beginning, and I gotta wait till the Steam disappears before I can make another one. And while the Cloudburst is an incredible crowd clear, it won't help against long-range husks like pitchers, zappers, or blasters, which will leave you kinda open. Now over here we got ourselves a perfect example. As you can see in the distance, we got a blaster, and I was able to eliminate one of the husks at least, but the Steam Cloud doesn't reach the zapper inside the building to my right, and I'm still getting pelted with it. As soon as I hit the zapper, the Steam Cloud appears, but it's not reaching the blaster, so I gotta go ahead and shoot more of the arrows to eliminate him. And again, it doesn't summon any of the other clouds. I gotta wait until the first Steam Cloud disappears before I'm able to summon another one, like with this Husky Husks. And even then, I'm still open to other attacks like these lobbers with the beehives. I hate the lobbers. But it seems like they want to start the mission either way, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Now, here at the beginning of the mission is another complaint I have with the Cloudburst. The Steam Cloud reach is not that wide. Sure, it's a danger to all the husks that walk through it, but not for the surrounding husks. Don't get me wrong, when combined with Pharah and her Splinters ability, it does incredible damage, especially when you take into account that those Splinters do damage every half a second for as long as there is a husk inside that Steam Cloud. That is just a barrage of damage to all the husks in the surrounding area, but that area of effect from the Cloudburst is just too small for my taste. I hope that Epic sees this and they maybe increase the size to about another half a tile maybe, and then make it 2 tiles wide at least. That would make this weapon the king of crowd clearing. Another thing where this weapon falls down on is the Smashers. Now, even though I perked this weapon up with extra damage to mist monsters and bosses, honestly, it doesn't do much for these Smashers. Those things are walking tanks. But I did find out that if they are the ones inside the Steam Cloud, they are able to take the attacks, but the poor suckers surrounding the Smashers will get completely obliterated. Still, when it comes to Smashers and even the bosses, the damage they receive leaves something to be desired. Case in point, with the Cloudburst, you need to eliminate a husk to even summon that Steam Cloud. You can't just fire at a mist monster or a mini boss because it won't make that Steam Cloud appear. In better circumstances, you would have the mini boss surrounded by husks, and the steam and the splinter from eliminating these smaller husks would do incredible work on the mini boss, eliminating the thing in seconds. But instead, we had to take it out with the discharger instead. Here we are in a 160 evacuate the shelter mission, with the best location possible, close to the corner of the map, meaning that the only spawn point will be either the front or the right. This also allows us to make enclosed trap tunnels where this weapon will shine. Now, here's what I mean by an optimal trap tunnel. I make sure to close off any unwanted or wide space and only make the tunnel 2 tiles wide. That means the steam from my Cloudburst will be able to work in a more enclosed space since the husks will have to huddle together to get through. And yes, I am putting traps as well, but that's mostly to activate Breakbeat Wildcat's Battle Beat perk. Trap eliminations also activate Totally Rocking Out, which gives me the damage buff I need to wipe out crowds of husks. Starting off the mission, as you can see, the trap tunnel is working perfectly. Maybe I could have put some half walls to make the tunnel smaller, but I didn't want to risk the husks breaking them and also breaking my traps. But, like I said, in this trap tunnel, the husks are all bundled together, and after eliminating one husk with the Cloudburst, they barely make it into the beginning of the tunnel to begin with. Now, I know what you guys are going to say, it's the tire traps that are doing the most damage, and the reason for it is because I queued up in a random mission with random players, and one of those players decided to surround the objective with tire traps. Otherwise, I wouldn't have used them at all. But I gotta make do with what I have. Maybe when I get bigger as a content creator and have friends to play with, my videos will become more detailed and sophisticated. But that's probably gonna be much later into the future. But there it is, the Cloudburst, an incredible crowd-clearing weapon with such high potential. Like I mentioned earlier, if the area of effect was just slightly bigger, or the steam cloud could pop up with every shot instead of every elimination, this weapon would be a monster to use, the king of crowd-clearing weapon. The only other weapon that could rival this one would be the brand new Stink Bow in Save the World, but at the moment it is glitched. Pharah's commander perk doesn't work with the Stink Bow, which whenever shot actually releases a large cloud of toxic fumes, so it's not entirely worth it. Hopefully, Epic does fix that bug and lets us use Stoneheart Pharah with the Stink Bow, because then it would make the Cloudburst completely obsolete. But other than that, if you guys like my content, why not leave a like? And if you guys want to get more updates regarding the game, why not drop a follow? Until then, as always, stay safe and game on!